So there's a couple of interesting things here on the full patch preview that I don't understand what they're doing. So let's go over it. Roa has grown a lot more popular and given mages in particular an option to go against double assassin mid jungle in particular. At the same time, it's just a tad too strong generically and doesn't pay enough of an immediate trade-off for its scaling nature. If champs want to opt into a nice double ruby crystal path, they should probably pay an immediate damage trade-off for it on Roa completion. I'll talk about why this is absolute nonsense. Shen. Our changes for Shen missed last patch, resulting in very minimal eye impact. We're giving him a little bit more of a boost to hit that mark. Simply, Shen is a champion like Braum who makes the game better when he's reasonably powerful. He adds a bit more nuance to the C champion, kill champion gameplay that Solk is rifled with. Has windows to be personally powerful while also lowering lethality in the game. So by lethality, they don't mean the lethality stat, they just mean like killing in general. So okay. So this one is really confusing to me because they say, first of all, the Shen changes were a miss because they result in a very minimal impact. Well, the Shen got like 1% win rate. So I guess they were aiming for what, 2 or 3% win rate? I suppose. They were aiming for more than 1% win rate? I don't know, because they got a solid 1% win rate of the buffs. And then, second of all, like, I don't know if Shen can be straight up compared to a Braum. Because, like, one is a support and one is played in top lane. And when Shen is a hat, like, he actually kills people. It's a tank with percent damage. I don't think Braum ever kills people, whether he's a hat or not. I just don't think, like, the comparison really goes one by one here. And so, basically, what they're trying to say is they want Shen to be in a pretty good spot in League. They want Shen to be kind of like a Braum or a Taric, where they're sitting at artificially high win rate. So I guess if you're a Shen main, you should be very happy. It's basically RIOT is just saying they want your character to be OP all the time. And yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I just think Shen is an incredibly easy champion to pick up. And I think like if the champion becomes OP, I do think people are gonna pick him up and RIOT will have to nerf it. Orianna is strictly worse than several of her contemporaries, Syndra and Victor, while being rather team reliant, and she's still not picked in pro, where she would otherwise be shown given these characteristics. This is true. Orianna will in nature be worse in solo queue and better in professional play. With raw nerf, she's also getting weaker. How? Why? Orianna doesn't build raw. What? Where is this coming from? Orianna, low analytics. Do people actually build raw on Orianna? Because it's just straight up wrong. This champion cannot be played without haste. It's equivalent to playing Wave without... Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, people are actually building raw. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I think the opposite is gonna happen, guys. I think she's gonna get stronger because people will build this garbage item on Orianna less. That's what I think is gonna happen. Given that she's not really been particularly present in either environment, we're giving her a buff up. Given 2-3 points, W is her strongest max order currently. It's a small nerf early, but a buff from level 8 onwards. Okay, so it is true that W to 3 points early is usually the best max order, but not always. This is true though. And it is true also that like Syndra and Victor are just generally better champs in solo queue, and Orianna is a lot more team reliant, so she should be picked in pro. However, I do think Orianna is really strong, and just because she's not being played in pro is just mostly a pro player problem, where they don't realize a strong champion. Yeah. I still think this champion doesn't need a buff, but I guess they're just gonna give it a buff to help Orianna in solo queue, and simultaneously to remind pro players that she's actually kind of overpowered, and then they're gonna probably have to nerf her, right? That's the pattern we're going from. K'Sante has mostly fallen out of the pro meta partially due to the Gwen priority, but we're putting more power in his most fair ability, which is W. Yeah, I kinda get that. I mean, yeah. I feel like RIOT has lately given a lot of... RIOT has done a lot of balancing on K'Sante around W, to be fair. But it kinda makes sense. I guess it is the most fair ability. Ashe. While it's true she's valuable in pro, Ashe is pretty weak in solo queue with a pretty shallow mastery curve. She doesn't gain much win rate with games played. Okay, that I can see why that could be a real concern. We're not as worried with having her go up in priority given Fearless and want to put her in a better spot for her regular players. I think this is like kind of solid reasoning. Leona Morgana have dropped out of viability a lot, and we're giving them both a bump up. Morgana has turned into a very reactive support and doesn't have a lot of reasons to go forward, so we're balancing that out a bit better. This is also kind of true, yeah. I guess like Morgana has this weird thing where she wants to play long range with Q, but then she wants to like go close range with ult. It's kind of like, I feel like her kit is sometimes like not synergistic. Leona is just strictly worse than a lot of other CC-oriented supports. Alistar, Rel, they probably also mean Nautilus here. And who else is there? Braum, I guess, as well, right? Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I said, right? Gwen, Naafir, Yorick. Some follow-ups on Gwen, Naafir, Yorick to get their follow-ups in the right spot. They landed well shape and power budget-wise, but need some fine-tunings to get in the right spots. Naafir is targeted at W uptime to reduce frustration. Gwen is targeted at making jungle weaker as she has less counterplay there. Yorick jungle is just a little too strong, especially in lower skill play. Okay, so let's go over these changes. So, okay, first of all, Annie. Q damage is going to go up by 30, 10 on rank 1, and the same AP ratio. W mana cost is going to go down by 20, which is massive, because this champion can struggle with mana with this high ability. This is going to be very big. And then the R passive magic penetration is going to go up by 5% at every level. I think these are absurdly strong buffs. This is at least 2% of win rate, if not more. I have a feeling that tells me that this champion might just be OP. I don't know. Might just be OP. Like, obviously, Annie's playstyle is going to completely shift, where she went from being a T-burst spam, buying dot items and malignance and spamming T-burst off cooldown, and without T-burst useless, to now being way less about T-burst and way more about probably buying items like Ludens or Shadow Flame and just killing people with Q and W. I think it is very hard for RIOT to balance this character. She doesn't really have any fair ability, so whether you buff T-burst, Q or W, there's nothing fair about it because she's all point and click and all just very brain-dead gameplay. So I can see why RIOT would have a very hard time balancing this character. I just think these are very big damage buffs, and I think she already got damage buffs on W before, right? So now she's going to be a lot more about QW. And the champion is going to turn into like a mini cannon, where she's going to be very like flash reliant, right? And then it's either she can get in range to QW you, or she can't get in range and she's useless. So I just think, I don't know where we're going with Annie. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It's so hard to balance this champion. Ashe, Q80 ratio, up by 5%. Q attack speed, up by 10%, max rank. These are, I think, good Ashe buffs. I think they're like targeting the right spell to buff. Just more damage to Ashe, because she lost a lot of damage when they changed her passive a couple of patches ago. So this actually makes a lot of sense. I like these changes. I think this also maybe brings back Q max. I'm not sure. Maybe. Probably not. But this is just reasonable buff. W by Cassandra goes up by 5 to 45 damage. Alright. Fine. Lona, passive duration up by 1 second. This is like nice quality of life buff, I guess. This kind of makes sense because I guess like in low elo, people can like just not realize Lona passes on a minion or something. This is nice, I guess. Like, this is like a big change in high elo, but yeah. Q mana cost down by 5. This is also nice. E mana cost down by 20 to by 20 early ranks, and she probably maxes this ability last, I assume. Maybe second. I'm not really sure how Lona works. I think these are fine buffs. They're nothing over the top. They're kind of targeting like they're like mix of quality of life for small buffs, and they're kind of targeting like frustrating points about Lona. I'm totally happy with these changes. Morgana E-Shield up by 20. Base only 20 rank 1, so this is pretty big. R damage up by 25 at every rank. Small R damage bump. And then R moon speed up by 10% early rank. So the E-Shield being bigger strength is nice because Lona E is oftentimes considered a cosmetic spell where like an Alistar combos you or something and the shield just breaks, you know. So this is kind of nice in certain matchups, right? Like this is very good buff. The R damage buff is kind of minimal if you're playing support Morgana. I mean, it's good on rank 1, but that's about it, I guess. For mid Morgana, it's like maybe a little bit better, whatever. And then the R movement speed buff is also very nice because like this allows you to like kite and stick to your opponents a lot easier. This is what I mean by like Morgana R being such a weird spell where you need to go so close range to them that Riot needs to buff this spell to like artificially high moon spit numbers. So this spell has very little counterplay. This is how they make the spell be consistent, right? I just think maybe the Riot should consider changing her R or something long term. So Rihanna Q mana cost down up by 5 and then down by 15. I think this is a massive buff. I saw some like people coping that this buff does nothing, where she buys tier and then she has unlimited mana. Are we playing the same video game? She definitely doesn't. She's insanely mana constrained, just like Wei or I don't know what other mage, like Veigar is also very mana constrained. These champions can actually go especially if you get like, if you roll a bad soul map, like you don't get an ocean map and you get like an inferno map or a mountain map, or you don't get a Chemtech map, no plants in the river or stuff, like you're just mega mana constrained on the champion. And if you don't get blues, I think this is very nice buff. I don't think this is a nerf at any level, really. I don't care about the 5 mana cost more on level 1, because in early game she actually doesn't really have that much mana issues. Her mana issues become at like level 10 onwards. And I actually think this also makes Qmax Orianna better. And I think Qmax Orianna is actually better already. I just think at most you should be putting 2 or 3 points at W. At most. It's never worth to go 5 points W. I think, yeah, the buff is really nice. Shen, empowered Qmax health damage up by 1%. So, I can already tell you they're gonna have to nerf Shen. This has happened, like, if you've been playing League for a long time like I have, this has happened already like 5 times by now. Every time they buff Shen Q damage by 1% or 2%, Shen gets immediately nerfed the next after, because it's OP. This number is constantly the lever they go for, and it constantly goes from Shen being OP to Shen being useless. Or meta, whatever, peak rate, whatever you want to say it. This champion is going to get nerfed. Gwen, armor growth, 0.5 down. Actually matters a lot, because she is a melee character, because she cares about durability. 0.5% armor growth is usually like 1% when you're down on the champion. Passive monster damage, down by 5% as well here, so some clear spit nerf. Q repeat sneak damage, also down by 3% AP. Wow, okay, Gwen is losing a lot of damage and durability. I actually think this nerfs might be a bit too harsh. Kalista, base health down by 20. Okay. Base AD down by 2. But the AD growth up by 0.75. So this means that she needs like level 4 and her AD is even, right? And then at like level 5 onwards, the AD is just buffed. So I don't think this is a massive Kalista nerf here, with base AD being down by 2. I think this is overall a buff to the champion, unironically. And then the rand base damage is also down by 5. So I definitely think early game, she's going to be worse. First 4 or 5 levels, 100% the champion is just nerfed. But when it comes to late game, relatively even shanked, I think. Nafiri, W cooldown, up by 4 seconds. E, 1 damage, also down by 10% bonus AD. So I'm just wondering, like, because this is the spell that she maxes last, right? Like, I'm wondering here if this is the right play. Because they're making this spell be like Mel W type of cooldown. Is this fun for inferior players that they get to cast only 1 W? I guess this is how they have to balance the spell, right? Because they can't really like make the invulnerability last for shorter time. I guess it would fuck with people's muscle memory. So I guess we're going for cooldown. I guess this spell is going to be like 30-second cooldown at some point. Fine, I guess. Yorick, missed walker damage, 150%. What? Missed walker damage? Oh, so I guess like the ghouls take more damage from monsters or what? Okay. Ignite. Yeah, commented on this already. Very skeptical of this change. Unflinching gets now 10 resist flat instead of 6 to 12. This rune is for sure OP already. I just think it's very hard to recognize when to pick this rune, because it's mega conditional. Rod of Ages. So 50 HP down, 5 AP down. I hate these changes so much. Like it makes me so mad. Why are we nerfing Rod of Ages, the completed item? Why are we not nerfing Catalyst, the thing that we just buffed, man? This shit is absurd. It has 2 Ruby Crystals in the build path, and you become a tank with the amount of mana and HP you get. You can't move anyone out of lane. Nerf that fucking component. Well, what are we doing here? Why is the actual main item getting nerfed, bro? Just makes me so mad. I'm not gonna build the trash anyway. Just stick to Blackfire Torch and Seraph, the only good mana items. Boots of Sweetness, 5 MS down. Yeah, that's the nerf. Okay, the biscuits, basically the biscuits math is like, if I think in early game, they're actually stronger, if I'm not mistaken. But if you have like 1000 HP, roughly, so that's like level 4, 5, they're already weaker, I believe. Fit boots, yeah, they're 500 gold, they're gonna be better pretty much. Majority of them. So for example, I'm not sure if Swift March is gonna be worth upgrading. I'm not sure how much Adaptive Force is equal to 5 move speed. This might sound useless, but for example, Lucidity boots are probably gonna be worth upgrading, or like, I don't know, maybe some other ones. Symbiotic Souls, 5 MS up by 5. Empowered vehicle removed on base boot. Oh, so they didn't give it out of combat moon speed, they gave it 5 MS. Wow, I mean, Symbiotic Souls, I don't know. I'll have to test if this thing is still viable to build or not. But overall, I think the Annie buffs are very scary. I think the Shen buffs are way too much. This champion will get nerfed. They need to buff something else on this champion. I don't know what something else is. But they need to not dodge the percentage Q damage. It always goes wrong. I think the Rihanna buffs, I guess it's just a matter of time till people will realize the champion is very strong. I like the Neferi nerfs, I like the Gwen nerfs, I like the Yorick nerfs. These champions are all very frustrating to deal with. I think the Kalista changes are maybe a bit too fast. Hate the Roa changes. And I just wish there was like more champion balancing here. I just think like the game is so wrong when like when in high elo in top lane, there's Warwick, Garen, Yorick, all sitting at mega high win rates, and these are like the best champions to play in solo queue. What has League of Legends become, man? Where are all the skilled champions in top lane? Maybe next time.